Welcome back to Seed Time and Harvest. We're here with Sister Betty. We're going to help her maintain her garden. We have some fertilizers that we're going to put in our garden, and this is the standard NPK as well as some minerals that we're going to apply. Phosphorus, you can add rock phosphate, and then for potassium, this is kelp meal that we're going to add. And for minerals, you can add C90. It has 90 minerals in it. You just mix it with some water and you can use that to water your garden to provide the minerals. This is an alfalfa meal, and as you can see, it's a good source of nitrogen as well as potassium. Here at the garden, we are noticing a few things that need to be addressed. As you can tell, the plants in the background are dead because she had a terrible winter. It got really cold. But in terms of the garden, things are not growing as expected, and so we're gonna feed the plants. We're gonna remove some things that are dying and consider what can be replaced. In here, we also notice that the things are coming up, but because it's getting a little bit warmer now, we're gonna have to take out the radishes. The cilantro is bolting, and we're gonna make space for like tomatoes, things that are more spring, summer friendly. So we're gonna make some changes to this garden even as we feed. Here we have a cilantro plant, and as you can tell that it has aphids. And also we have ants that are harvesting the aphids. So there's ants around the garden, and the ants bring the aphids here just so that they can benefit from the nectar that the aphids secrete. So this is not good. So we're gonna have to remove the plants with the aphids on it. Really, you can just use a hose and spread them off, but we don't want it to spread to the other areas. I just noticed it on the cilantro, so we're gonna get rid of those.
So what are you gonna do? You're gonna clip it? Or
And
you just
squish
gonna...
it. You can squish it, and then we're gonna pull them up. Actually, we can just break it. This one, this one, close to where the aphids are. We're gonna break it, and then we're gonna throw this across the fence.
And this one too?
If it has aphids, yes.
What about this little thing, right?
Oh, no.
They were in my hands.
Yes, it does have aphids on it. Can't be afraid of the bugs, okay?
But these are the ones that bite.
No, they don't bite.
Really?
Yeah.
The red ones? Oh, look at that. They're all in there.
Yes, the ants are harvesting aphids, so we're gonna have to get some diatomaceous earth to put around the bed to keep the ants out. Aphids are not good for the garden because what they do is they suck the juice out of the plants, and they'll cause your leaves to curl, and eventually the plants will die. And the problem with aphids is that they don't stay the same, especially if ants. You find ants in the garden, the ants will move them to different plants. It will weaken the plant and eventually cause them to die. What you can do for aphids is every 2 weeks you can spray with neem oil, or just check on the garden. You can use your hand and squish them.
Oh, I have some neem oil. I can do that.
Spray neem oil every 2 weeks, and if you see aphids in your garden, you can just use a hose, blast them off, or just squish them with your
How do
fingers.
you know you have that? Because of the little flowers? Or
No,
just
you see
saw
the bugs. You can see the bugs. Yeah,
Okay,
you just
have to pay close attention.
So you have to be in the garden. You have to check on it, because if you don't, the bugs are checking it out too. So you have to keep an eye on it.
Competing with them.
Yes.
So Sister Betty, are you gonna squish the bugs with your hand?
I can spray the neem oil.
Oh, she'll get there.
I will try squeezing the bugs out.
Another thing that you have to pay attention to is the plants that are growing, because here you have a radish that's really big that could have been harvested a long time ago, and you have a few more over there. So you want to take them out before they go bad.
Okay.
Or they get too
I'm gonna
hard.
get it out. Just grab it.
Yep, just grab it and pull it up.
The whole thing? Okay.
Next to that is a turnip, and the radish is over there.
Okay. Wow.
Your
Beautiful.
first harvest.
Let me see your harvest, Sister Betty.
Yes.
Show me your
yes.
harvest so we can see it.
Beautiful.
All right, praise the Lord.
I'm looking at your soil. How often do you water?
I water every 2 days.
Every 2 days?
Mhm.
How do
For
you?
30 minutes.
For 30 minutes? Okay, but if you look at the soil, it's really, really wet. Okay, it's very wet. And it's almost like soggy wet the further down you go. So before you water, you just want to pull the soil back, because even though the top looks dry, you may look at it and say, hey, it looks like it needs water. But when you start pulling the soil back, you realize that it is very moist. And so the garden is being overwatered, so we not only have to look at the amount of time that elapses between watering, but also check the soil before we water, because you can tell that the nutrients are being leached from the soil because of too frequent watering. Because these plants were planted a little over a month ago, and they should have been a lot more sturdy, a lot bigger. But we're gonna have to address watering also and feeding. I'm gonna mix the fertilizers in these buckets. So again, they put a lot more nitrogen and a lot more potassium, which is the immune system of the plants. This one is a kelp. We're gonna do 2 cups of kelp meal, and this adds potassium to the plants. And then finally we have the rock phosphate, and the rock phosphate helps with root development. Okay, we're gonna add 1.5 cups of the C90.
So these are organic and they're slow releasing.
Right.
So this is something that you want to actually add even before the plants need it.
Correct. Or what you can also add is a liquid fertilizer. Those are fast release fertilizers, and those would be more ideal. We're gonna mix it up, and then we're gonna spread it evenly throughout the garden.
So how do you plan on feeding the plants?
We're gonna distribute it around the roots of the plants. Just mix it in a little bit.
What are the type of liquid ones that you were mentioning?
You can get liquid fertilizer also. Different. It's mostly in the form of a compost tea. And if you add compost tea to the garden, it will give the same amount of nutrients, but it would make it more readily available for the plants.
Okay, so that would be like the compost tea we made in our other video.
Correct.
You might want to watch how Sharice does it.
Yeah, so you sprinkle it.
Yeah, she put more than I do.
And look how she agitates the ground.
Yeah.
You were like poking it.
You want it to get down to the roots. Then you get watered.
No, not poking it.
Okay. Like
Look-
that?
Look how she does it.
Okay.
Just scatter the dirt a little bit, or spread the dirt.
Okay. Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
got it.
not so rough though.
and these are
You'll get it, but you need a little coaching.
like these are so small, you won't scatter it.
The only thing is with these, why it's also good to bury it is because the ants like to eat it also.
Yeah, since you have the ants in the garden.
We have to fight with so many things.
Yep, it's a controversy. There's a great controversy in the garden.
Let me try to get some in there.
We just finished feeding the plants here at Sister Betty's. What we're gonna do is we're gonna monitor our watering. If the soil is wet, then we don't have to water, and we're gonna apply fertilizer every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Okay, a balance of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, as well as the C90 for minerals.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you for joining us on Seed Time and Harvest. Until next time,
Bye.
happy planting.